How's it going? All right, cool. All right, so this is mostly my talk from yesterday, but we're gonna go deeper into Atom 2.0. This will be like one of a number of going deep. Also, how do I figure out what time I'm done? Who's watching the time? Okay, cool. Someone throw something when I'm supposed to get off the stage. Okay, so we'll use that system. Okay, so we're gonna go deeper into Atom 2.0. That's basically this talk. So like stripped out a bunch of stuff and wanted to go, okay. All right, so yes, 2016, we sort of conceived Atom 1.0. To people who did not hear my talk, so why did just like, who didn't hear my talk and have somehow been sleeping under a rock, the people who, like the reason Atom 2, the sort of motivation of Atom 2.0 is that we seem to have created, or we have created this amazing interchain ecosystem that is on display at this conference and on display at this event. But we've also sort of created a bit of a, like, you know, this is us, the lowest fee value accruing asset, like in the top N assets. You know, we've created this like essentially meme coin for the interchain. And what we wanted to do in conceiving of Atom, so like part of the challenge has always been like, the way I describe it is, our thesis is application-specific blockchains. What is the application of the Gaia chain, the Cosmos Hub chain? Like it doesn't have an apparent application. It just sort of exists, it does proof of stake, it demos, hold on, like this system that we like posited in the Cosmos white paper as like a coherent proof of stake economy like actually functions, which is like not a trivial accomplishment at all. When we launched the Cosmos Hub in 2019, you know, proof of stake was still something that was viewed as experimental. It wasn't really clear whether or not it could produce like a secure, decentralized ecosystem. So it was a huge accomplishment to like prove that proof of stake works. But it's kind of incredibly boring to have our sort of foundational blockchain only represent like basically, look, proof of stake works, IBC works, do nothing else. So this led a group of people who are the authors of the new white paper, who've been working on this since, you know, early January, late December, to sort of start conceiving of, hey, like what if Atom had a purpose? And so, you know, a lot of people contributed to this. Sam Hart did the hard work of turning like this giant hodgepodge of ideas into a coherent white paper that you can all read. And so we're gonna dig a little bit more into like the constituent elements of the white paper. Okay, so 3 legs of the stool. So the first leg of the stool is, again, we like demonstrated that you could like run this proof of stake economy, that it would work, that like people would actually stake, that there would be viable economic incentives, that the thing would be secure, that the validator set would dynamically evolve over time, that it wouldn't collapse into a system that was like only run by like a couple of companies or foundations. So huge accomplishments, but like also staking in Cosmos has lots of obvious problems. One is the enormous dominance of centralized exchanges in the validator set of the Cosmos Hub, and any chain that like matures enough to be listed, you quickly find yourself in this situation where you have like hyper dominance of the validator set. So what we are talking about is really embracing, you know, the world of liquid staking providers and making Atom into a better asset for using in DeFi. Like one of the other observable problems with Atom right now is that it is like strangling the DeFi economy in many ways, because the sort of risk-free rate is 19%, and it becomes really hard for anything other than DEXs, which have a large amount of inflation, to compete with that through their liquidity incentives. So like, we need to stop strangling our DeFi ecosystem. We also, though, so like in a world where all of this is true, it seems clear that we have a reduction in the need to issue more atoms to pay for a security budget. So issuance can go down, issuance can be repurposed for other things. There's an enormous sort of write-up of like this proposed new issuance schedule in the white paper that I am not going to really focus on in this talk. It's best focused on in the white paper because it has like lots of graphs and moving pieces and stuff like that. But a big part of this idea is a mental shift now away from atom is this like infinitely and like the paper proposes like moving to a 300,000 atom a month linear issuance schedule after 5 years. Okay, so another problem in our ecosystem is that like we don't believe in the flat protocol thesis. The meme about Cosmos is the Cosmos is coming to kill the flat protocol thesis. So how does atom align? Like it's clearly not a flat protocol. All these things are not built on top of atom. They don't have to use atoms for fees. So how do you actually align atom with this ecosystem that's built using the technologies that were born out of the development of the Cosmos Hub? Another problem that that like sort of motivates the idea of the allocation module is this idea of we don't want, like what we've seen is sort of a variety of exclusionary, rivalrous, adverse selecting mechanisms for trying to capture value. Where like you push the best, like one of the greatest things about Cosmos is like how many of the biggest brands, the best projects have come to an ecosystem that literally did not have a business development team really at all until like a few months ago, and like has like one of the smallest business development teams. Yet we have like most of the centralized exchanges that have their own chain build a Cosmos chain. Most of the centralized like use our tech, and like we are seeing an increasing amount of migration of like the biggest brands in DeFi also to the Cosmos, and all of that is like without BD. So you don't want to like kill that process by like saying, hey, if you want to connect to the Cosmos Hub, if you want to get some other benefits from the system, you have to like do like a crowd loan or any of this other stuff. So what we really want for Atom is a way for Atom to instead align itself with all of these new things that are coming to the ecosystem. And then the last piece is this, what we call the scheduler, which is basically a block space futures market, where we think that another aligned way for Atom to benefit its ecosystem and sort of align itself with its ecosystem is by offering a place in which you can buy future block space. I've heard like the MEV panel today was I think like one of the best panels of the whole conference. We're going to see a lot more. There's also a MEV roundtable later tonight back down in the city. I think MEV is going to be, is like one of the most esoteric topics. It's also one of the most important topics for value accrual in the system. Skip also made like this really exciting proposal to capture MEV and internalize it on osmosis. So again, I think you're going to see MEV is going to be a big part of it, but like this is a sort of cross-chain MEV architecture. Okay, so this is what I just said: adoption of liquid issuance, fixed or negative issuance. So the white paper proposes fixed issuance. I don't like the white paper is not. I don't think of the white paper as like, oh, these are like finalized parameters or these are like the way things have to be. It is largely a starting point of a discussion because like the people who have been involved in the sort of construction of these parameters are like a limited subset of all of the stakeholders who would care about Atom, right? And so it's like a starting point and it's an anchor point for the discussion, but anchor issuance is going to continue to change and evolve also over time, regardless of like what we write into software in like the process of executing on this Atom 2.0 vision. So formal cap is possible, and then we have this new issuance schedule that's in the paper. And I guess the biggest thing that should make people highly confident that like Atom can actually transition to this new issuance schedule is the sheer number of liquid staking providers. Okay, so I think one of the like least understood things, I'm just going to get at like one point because I don't have that much time left, One of the least understood things about the MEV scheduler is mostly the discussion about MEV tends to involve like sandwich attacks on dexes and liquidations and the MEV opportunities that come from that. But the real key piece, the real thing that actually matters, the largest source of MEV in the blockchain ecosystem is literally exchanges being able to see when you clicked withdraw funds from the exchange. And basically what we're trying to do, more than anything else, in this proposed MEV scheduler is, yes, we are trying to create like a new way of creating like amazing multi-chain DeFi user experiences. We like are trying to create a world in which like a block builder can like buy the ability to like move Atom over IBC to Agoric, mint IST, and go buy something on Osmosis in one like continuous, highly reliable way, far more reliable than like the sort of ad hoc block building that we do right now and ad hoc relaying. But we're also trying to create a world where we actually start to internalize back to the community a lot of the value that these centralized exchanges are going to be able to extract just because they have insight into when people enter and leave their own systems. So yeah, this is sort of this mental model of like what we want people to be able to do, which is buy like contiguous elements of block space. One of the reasons why we think the interchain scheduler is going to be compelling rather than every chain running their own scheduler and may extend beyond the interchain secured zones, the interchain secured consumer zones, is we think that it is a far better product for the builders to be able to like buy contiguous space over as many chains as possible, so that like these kinds of like contiguous executions across multiple chains of actions can actually be executed with a high degree of confidence. All right. Last piece of the whole thing is this allocator module. And without a doubt, I think the allocator module is the most ambitious, high risk thing. I think it's also worth remembering that like the amount of atom emissions, the amount of atoms that are ever going to be allocated to this thing is going to be relatively small. It's not, again, like we're trying to like, double or triple or quadruple the supply and allocate it all to the allocator module. It is a mechanism that may be very productive, but like what I really think it does is it like answers this question of how do you partner with the hub? Right now, and how do you partner with the Atom community, which has been a big unknown for new chains that are launching in the ecosystem. The Atom community has liquidity, it has exchange integrations, it has all of these things that are valuable to everything in the ecosystem, but there's no actual mechanism of like structuring a partnership. And so what we're trying to do is really make, more than anything, the idea of partnering with the hub a viable idea through having these mechanisms where inflation can be streamed out to economic use cases. Like one thing that immediately comes to mind, for instance, is like, oh, like you've launched a stable coin. That stable coin is backed by Atom. Well, why don't we buy like Atom that stable coin pairs and have them sit in the treasury? I also think of this as like largely a very long-term mechanism as a way of like integrating with the this isn't about like quick rewards. This isn't about like flipping coins that go up, 5,000x into the ecosystem. This is mostly about building long-term economic partnerships between the sort of Atom DAO and other DAOs that exist within the Cosmos ecosystem. And so, to close, like what did I mean by this? What I meant by this is, both the allocation module and the scheduler do provide an opportunity to introduce fee burning mechanisms. We didn't put that into the white paper, but like this is a thing that the community will get a handle on over time. So thank you very much.